heard about the need for a little bit more buzz in Balcatta. What else you need there?
Look, it's about strengthening the community. I think that we have a Balcatta is a fantastic place in the sense that its people really is its defining feature. We have a large proportion of Italians, Greeks, Macedonians, Croatian, Vietnamese, you know, and about 40% of the population in Balcatta have English as a second language, or it's spoken, different languages spoken at home. So its complexity and its richness is one of the most wonderful things about Balcatta, and its history as well in that area. So it's about keeping people connected with their local area, strengthening community groups and people's connections to it. And it's also about strengthening our schools as well. Balcatta, although it's got an ageing population, I could probably see that over the next 10 to 15 years, we can see it already. Some of the schools are starting to grow in their numbers again, which is fantastic. So it's about ensuring that there's enough recreation areas, that there's enough sporting facilities, enough community groups.
Is that enough?
It has a strong tradition of having a lot of these groups, but a lot of them as well, these community groups suffer, as many groups do as well, where getting volunteers in to help and assist is difficult and getting more difficult. So again, that's about getting people inspired to become involved in their local community, so that these groups that have existed, some of them, I was at the Osborne Park sub-branch 93rd birthday the other day of the RSL. Yes. So, but these groups need, you know, more people coming in and being involved in them, so that their tradition and the good work that they do can continue.
On that note of Osborne Park, I heard you got some problems, or the suburb got some problems with the Osborne Park Hospital. Tell me something about that.
Well, there was a $40 million upgrade of the mental health facility there that has been knocked back by the Barnett government, or taken off its budget, so that's of concern. The Osborne Park Hospital is a really important, you know, hub within the community. A lot of people access it and use it, not just obviously in the Balcatta electorate, but in a wide area. Our hospital services, of course, across the board, there's been cuts to health, and that's very concerning. So look, we need to strengthen, as I said, all those government services that we have need an injection of more money, and that comes back down to priorities. And a McGowan Labor government has its priorities very firmly fixed on people, rather than these big inner city projects.
So the hospital issue will be fixed if you've been elected, or what, have you got any strategy for that? Look,
as Mark would have said on your program earlier, I would have thought all the policies that Labor are coming out with will be properly costed and properly funded, because the one thing we don't want to do is go to an election with a whole range of policies and then have to break them because suddenly, you know, they're not properly budgeted. So we're waiting for the mid-financial review to come out in mid-December to tell us really what the state of affairs is with the state budget, and then after that there'll be announcements which will be properly funded and properly costed, so that we can deliver on the promises that we make.
So you don't want to make false promises?
Well, I can't make false promises there.
Not like real politicians do, because they make lots of false promises.
Well, that's what, you know, Mark is very clear on not wanting to do, because people quite rightly get upset when it seems, you know, politicians come in. Well, and that's fair enough as well, and that's why he's very clear that at this point we want everything that we announce to have a dollar value to it that we know is in the budget, so that we can deliver it.
Janet, your involvement in education is well known. So how do you see the educational aspects of your electorate?
Yeah, look, I was the chairperson of the Balcatta Senior High School for 3 years. I also sit as Vice President at the WA Council of State School Organisations, which is the peak body for P&Cs, government school P&Cs across the state. So education is something that's very dear to my heart. I've also I've been President of primary school P&Cs and school boards for about 12 years. So I've got a long background in that area.
What is the mix in Balcatta between private schools and government schools?
We've got six or seven government schools in Balcatta, including Balcatta High School, and there's about 4 or 5 non-government schools. So it's well represented across the board. Look, the challenges that are ahead for public education and education across the state generally, look, it's information technologies within schools and ensuring that schools are resourced not only to be able to have this outpouring of computers and the networks that be able to support them, but also the staff within the schools to make sure that everything keeps working. That's a huge area. Of course, we're embroiled at the moment with the whole Gonski review and ensuring that we have equity in funding for schools across all of Australia, and that's a commitment which will need to be made at both the federal and a state government level. So I'm very, pushing for the state to remain at that table and to ensure that we get a good, equitable system of funding in place. We've got the national curriculum coming through that has resourcing implications for schools. We've got Year 7s transitioning to high school. That's a huge area which I have to say this government has not planned for well and certainly has not consulted with parents well.
So what is the problem with the Year 7s? Yes.
Well, the problem with the Year 7s is ensuring that we have enough Year 7 teachers to be able to teach them within that high school setting, that there is enough classrooms and resources within those high schools as well to accommodate that influx of Year 7 children along with a Year 8 influx in 2015. But we also need to look at primary schools as well, because with the loss of Year 7 from government schools, it may mean that some of those schools get downgraded in their level from going say from a level 4 school to a level 3 has implications in terms of your school budget and the number of staff that you have. So there's a whole range of issues there. The independent public school system that has been introduced, there's some positive elements to that. There's some there's some other elements there that are problematic which will need to be dealt with. So education is a huge issue, and it's one that's very close to my heart. And I know that across the board, it doesn't matter whether it's public or private, parents are so passionate about their children's education in the Balcatta area, and it's great to see their involvement on P&Fs and P&Cs. I've coming from that background myself, that's something that I would like to support and ensure that all those schools across the electorate will certainly have my full support.
How are you using the social media? Are you using it for this election of your own propaganda or
propaganda, Tibor, please? It's the facts.
It is, that's correct. So how do you use?
Yeah, look, I've got a Facebook account.
Active?
Yep, I am. So I have a Facebook account, which I'm very proud because I've got 312 likes so far. We've got to push that up a bit higher, but I think that's pretty good going at this point in time.
Yes.
I've got an e-newsletter that I put out every couple of weeks to try and keep people involved. I do have a Twitter account, but I must admit I'm not particularly good with Twitter at this point in time. There's an awful lot to do in the day, and to stop and think about, I've got to quickly do a tweet, for me,
they're just too much.
It's a little bit too much at the time, yes. I'm more interested in actually talking to people face to face.
Janet, if you've been elected and you became a member of the parliament, how do you see your working life? I know that you got a private company, you're running a business yourself, you got a family to look after. So how does it really change your life? What do you think? Because you've never been in that situation before. Oh,
well, no, that's right. It'll be a very big learning curve. Look, for everybody, as it should be, family is always the #1 priority. And after that, I will be throwing myself in 100% to the role as an MP. I think that's an incredibly privileged position to be in. I take it very seriously, and I'm very passionate about the electorate, and I'm very passionate about engaging with people to lift people's capacities. So I want people to be involved in their local community, and I want them to be involved with me to tell me, how they would like to be represented, so that I can assist them in making Balcatta a much better place for everybody. So look, it'll be a big learning curve, and my kids will have to actually do a lot more than they're currently doing around the house, I can say.
How many kids do you have?
I've got three boys.
3 boys.
Yeah.
Age?
16, 14 and 12.
That's a good age for boys. That's a good challenge for you, I suppose.
Well, that's right. Everybody has to step up to the plate a bit, my husband included, and we'll all go on an adventure together. So
what are you doing when you're not campaigning? What's your private life? What's your occupation? What's your business?
I haven't been doing anything other than campaigning, I have to say, for about the last 3 or 4 months.
But before that?
Before that, look, I'm a voiceover artist and an actor and a writer. I'm also a marriage and funeral celebrant. So I've been doing all those things, which are, it might sound like a lot, but basically when you work, as you would understand, Tibor, when you work in the arts in Western Australia, you have to have a number of strings to your bow to make a living. So they're all around similar things, and they all operate in a way which allows me the flexibility, or certainly has allowed me the flexibility to bring up my family while still earning an income at the same time. And I've been very, very fortunate in being able to do things that I love, but still having the time to be able to either, you know, work from home or not be away that much so that I can be there for my kids. So it's been a fantastic combination.
Are you cooking as well?
Am I
or
cooking?
Who is cooking at home?
I'm cooking. I've had a thing with my husband since my children were little that he has to cook on Saturday nights, and that's it, because the boys have to see him cooking. And he did rile against that for the first, you know, couple of months, and it was baked beans. But
that's not cooking.
Well, you know, over the years he's certainly increased his repertoire, which is good. No, he's actually a very good cook. So. He might be having to do a little bit more cooking if March the 9th falls the way that I'm planning it to fall.
Thank you, Janet Pettigrew.
Thank
and
you.
Good luck for the elections.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for watching Shadowboxing. Please come back next week as well. Same channel, same time.